Elijah, Forerunner of the Lord. Thus saith the Lord. I sent Elijah to return in the third era, on September 1st, 1866. See the Third Testament, chapter 38. As the master in that second era, had announced, saying, I say unto you, Elijah has come already, and they knew him not. I shall return to the world, but truly, I tell you, before me shall be Elijah. And as all the words of the Master come to pass, in the third era, Elijah has come before me to awaken the spirits, to make them foresee that the hour of the Holy Spirit shall open their doors, to say to every spirit to open his eyes, to prepare his garments, to pass the threshold from the second era to the third era. And so that the manifestation of Elijah would be more tangible in this third era, I made him speak through a just man, Roque Rojas. Elijah, from the Hereafter, spiritually enlightened this man, inspired him, strengthened him, and guided all his steps from beginning to end. Truly, I tell you, I did not come to choose Roque Rojas from among men. I sent him, sent his spirit, already prepared by my charity. I gave him the material form that I had prepared, and you know that he was humble, that through his humility and his virtue the Father manifested great deeds. He was a prophet, a speaker, a seer, and a guide. From all of these he left a clear example to the people. He was mocked and ridiculed by his own people, as was Moses in the desert. He was persecuted, as was Elijah, the prophet, and he had to seek out the mountain peaks to pray for and watch over his people. He was scoffed at and judged by priests and scribes, like his master, and was believed and surrounded by very few, again like his master. His hands dispensed balsam, performed miracles which raised faith in some and confusion in others. His lips spoke of prophetic lessons that were fulfilled to the letter, and his lips knew the counsel and gave comfort to those sick at heart. His mind knew to conceive great inspirations and to raise itself with the ecstasy of the just, of the apostles, of the prophets. His spirit knew how to free himself from this world and his flesh, to penetrate the spiritual valley and humbly arrive at the gates of the mysteries of the Lord. And by this elevation, the spirit of Elijah manifested himself to the first witnesses, before the coming of the ray of the Master. Roque Rojas assembled a group of men and women of faith and goodwill, and there, in the midst of his first gatherings, Elijah manifested himself through the faculty of the envoy, saying, I am Elijah, the prophet. The same of the transfiguration on Mount Tabor. He gave instructions to the first disciples, at the same time that he proclaimed to them the era of spirituality, and he foretold that the ray of light of the Divine Master would communicate with his people soon. On a day when the humble dwelling of Roque Rojas was full of faithful followers who believed the word of that man, Elijah descended to illuminate the mind of his speaker, and inspired by me, he anointed 7 of those believers, to whom he gave the representation or symbolism of the 7 seals. Later, when that promised moment of my communication took place, I observed that out of those 7 chosen, only 1 kept vigilance, awaiting the arrival of the pure spouse. And that heart was that of Damiana Oviedo, the maiden whose faculty was the first to receive the light of the divine ray as a reward for her perseverance and her preparation. Damiana Oviedo represented the sixth seal. It was one more proof that the light of the sixth seal illuminates this era. The text refers to the revelation of John the Apostle, and to the second to last of the seven seals, which define different periods forming the Lord's great plan for redemption. See chapter 38. Very few indeed were able to truly feel the presence of the divine envoy. Once again, he was the voice who cried out in the wilderness, and again he prepared the heart of man for the imminent coming of the Lord. Thus, the sixth seal was opened, allowing its contents to be contemplated and poured like a torrent of justice and light upon mankind. Thus, many promises and prophecies remained fulfilled. Elijah, like Jesus and Moses, came to illuminate the eyes of your spirit, so that you would behold the Father. Moses taught you to love your fellow man as thyself. Jesus said to you, love one another. Elijah ordered you to have charity, and more charity toward your brethren. Then he added, and you will behold my Father in all his splendor. When the darkness that has covered humanity disappears and light is manifested in the spirits, you will feel the presence of a new era, for Elijah has returned among men. But since they have not known how to see him, it has been necessary that he manifest his spirit through a human spokesman, and that he appears before those who are able to perceive him spiritually. As in the vision in which Elisha saw Elijah riding a carriage of fire over the clouds. Elijah has come as a forerunner in this time to prepare mankind for my arrival. He has come as a prophet to announce the new era to you, with its battles, its trials, and also with the wisdom of his revelations. He comes with his carriage of light to invite you to enter it, in order to lift you over the clouds and take you to the spiritual mansion where peace reigns. Trust in him as in the Good Shepherd. Follow him spiritually as the people followed Moses in the first era. Pray that he will help you to fulfill your mission, and if you want to imitate him, do so. Elijah, a spirit of great power, who has not been recognized by humanity, has always been my forerunner. Today, he has come once again to prepare the chosen, those who have served me as spokesman, and to all humanity. If you prepare yourselves and study my teaching in order to come to know my will, Elijah will come as your support and friend. Elijah is a divine ray who illuminates and guides all beings and leads them to me. Love him and honor him as a forerunner and as your mediator. Elijah, the prophet, the forerunner, the envoy of the third era, intercedes for his flock, prays for those who do not know to pray, and conceals with his mantle the blemish of the sinner, waiting for his regeneration. Elijah prepares his multitudes, his legions, to combat the darkness created by the ignorance, sin, fanaticism, and materialism of mankind. Now it corresponds to all of you who are prepared and awake to announce the liberation of the world. Remember that Elijah, the promised one for this time, is preparing everything to rescue the nations of the earth, enslaved by materialism from the rule of Pharaoh, as in that time when Moses did so in Egypt with the tribes of Israel. Tell your brethren that Elijah has already manifested himself through a human spokesman, that his presence has been in spirit, and that he shall continue to illuminate the way to all the people who shall come in the future. Your shepherd has as his mission to restore all the creatures to their true path, whether it be spiritual, moral, or material order. For which I tell you how fortunate shall be the nations that receive the call of the Lord through Elijah. Thus they shall be united by the law of justice and love, which shall bring them peace as the fruit of their understanding and brotherhood. Thus united, they shall be taken to the field of battle, where they shall struggle against evil, materialism, and falsehood. In that struggle, the men of this time will see new miracles, and they shall understand the spiritual sense of life, that which speaks to them of immortality and peace. They will cease killing one another, and realizing that what you should be destroying is your ignorance, your selfishness, and your insane passions, which have given origin to your obstacles and miseries, both material and spiritual. Elijah is the ray of God, whose light comes to dissipate the darkness and liberate you from the slavery of this time, which is sin, and who will guide your spirit through the desert until you arrive at the promised land in the bosom of God.